Human smuggling suspect arrested with previously deported Guatemalan. Yard worker with garage code arrested in theft of golf cart from a snowbird. This will be an update on a villager accused of swindling fellow residents, complains that the bond is too high. Competency evaluation ordered for a patient who stole a medical van. Family steps in with guardianship of villager jailed for tormenting her neighbor. Another depression discovered in the villas plagued with 2 months by sinkholes. A villager's Cadillac and purse was stolen during a home invasion by an ex-convict. An emergency exit found boarded up at a Lady Lake senior living. The Witches of Osceola Hills holds their annual Halloween gathering. Waterfront Home and Villages sells for nearly 4 times the 2017 sales price. Margarita Republic closes its doors at Spanish Springs Town Square. Grumpy old man brings a little joy and laughter to Savannah Center stage. Villager's dog earns a ribbon in Halloween costume contest. How many holes in ones do we get this week in the villages? This and more coming up. Villagers are fed up with a neighbor running a used golf cart lot at his home. Neighbors said the practice has been going on for years at the home. They contend that they have called the problem to the attention of the developer. The home in question is located at 834 Journey Lane in the village of Sanibel, who is in charge of enforcing internal deed restrictions such as running a business out of a home. They've also contacted community standards as well as Sumter County Code Enforcement. A county code enforcement officer in May documented between 10 to 15 golf carts in the driveway and parked along the curb. The homeowner told the code enforcement officer that he lost his storage facility and the abundance of carts was a temporary measure. Frustrated neighbors are circulating a petition in an attempt to call attention to the problem. Earlier this month, Village of Polo Ridge residents appeared before the Community Development District 3 supervisors with regard to an alleged golf cart selling operation in their neighborhood. I've seen this things happen around the villages a lot. Here's the biggest thing. People will buy a bunch of used golf carts, put them in their garage or whatever, and then they rent them out in the wintertime. I don't really see a big problem with that. That's just me personally saying that. But I don't live next door to one of them. If I did, and there was a constant flow of traffic in and out and noise all day long, I could have a problem with it. An inspector found an emergency exit boarded shut in the memory care unit at Lady Lake Senior Living. An anonymous complaint led to an inspector's visit to the facility at 930 County Road 466, where an emergency exit was found boarded over from the inside. Inspector Mike Richards discovered the boarded up door and testified about it at a hearing Tuesday morning before Special Magistrate Joshua Bills at Lady Lake Town Hall. Richards said he feared for the residents due to their lack of mobility and the fact it was in a memory care unit. A fire or other emergency could have been devastating. That's a dead-end hallway. They would not be able to get out of that hallway. They would be stuck, Richards said. Richards works for Carey Barnett Fire Safety Consulting, which contracts with the town of Lady Lake. The inspection led to the discovery that Lady Lake Senior Living had never applied for the proper permits for other interior work at the facility. Care at Lady Lake Senior Living reportedly begins at $2,795 per month. Greg Answorth of Lady Lake Senior Living appeared at the hearing and claimed a contractor has since applied for the permit. Staff double-checked records, briefly pausing the hearing, and found that as of Tuesday morning, a permit application has not been filed. The special magistrate gave Lady Lake Senior Living until November 13th to obtain the proper permits. If it fails to do so, $250 daily fines will be imposed until the proper permits are in place. Can you imagine? Memory care, people with Alzheimer's, dementia, things like that, and they board up an exit? A villager's purse and Cadillac were stolen after an early morning invasion in the village of Santiago. Michael A. Prouty, 39, who has a long criminal record and was released earlier this year from a Florida prison, forced his way into a home on Ballesteros Drive at 7:30 a.m., where he stole a woman's purse and cell phone before driving away in her Cadillac, according to Sumter County Sheriff's report. The Cadillac was sighted in Ocala, and the Ocala Police Department at 11 a.m. began pursuit. Prouty crashed the Cadillac and began to to flee on foot. He was attempting to carjack another vehicle when he was taken into custody. He has a criminal record that dates back to 2000, including 13 felony convictions, which includes several robbery charges. He is registered as a career offender. He'll be facing multiple charges in Sumter County. And I feel sorry for the lady. Scared to death, lost her purse. Who knows what else she lost out of that purse? Crashed her car. You see a picture of her car. Now she's got to deal with insurance companies, maybe even have to pay money out of her pocket, whatever the copayment is or whatever, to get the car replaced. These people need to be dealt with. I mean, dealt with severely. Another depression has been discovered in a villa community in the villages plagued for more than 2 months by sinkholes. Residents of the Glenda Villas in the village of Monarch Grove have been coping with the anxiety as well as noise of heavy equipment and inconvenience of traffic barricades since the first sinkholes were discovered in mid-August. The City of Wildwood on Wednesday announced another depression has been discovered. City officials immediately authorized a secondary geophysical investigation of the entire public right-of-way. Additional grouting injections began Wednesday and are expected to take 2 weeks to complete and cure. Inspections of utility infrastructure will follow to determine any necessary repairs. We were disheartened to learn of additional areas of concern, but remain aggressively focused on protecting public safety and correcting the problem. Whatever it takes, said Public Works Jeremy Hockenberry. We have been and remain in close contact with Scardino Street residents and the village's community development district each step of the way to ensure everyone involved has updated information. A test report recommended a series of subsurface grout injections in the right-of-way. A total of 351.3 cubic yards of concrete was injected at 21 sites to depths ranging from 25 to 55 feet. Access to the affected area of roadway remains restricted to residents and authorized personnel. Monarch Grove, that area is not that old. Here's an update on reports we done a couple months ago. A family member has attempted to step in with a guardianship of a 79-year-old villager charged with tormenting her neighbor. Janice Francis McKay, 79, of the village of Hacienda East, has been held without bond since July 6 at the Sumter County Detention Center. Her attorney is seeking a dismissal of the charges she is facing, indicating his client has been diagnosed with dementia, which is manifested by paranoia, impaired reality testing, memory deficits, and lack of insights, according to the document on file in Sumter County Court. In addition, family members have stepped in and been granted guardianship over McKay, according to the documents filed with the court. McKay had no previous criminal history. You remember the report on her. She's the one in the golf cart that was chasing the homeowner next door around with a stick, who was going to beat him up. She was claiming that half of his property actually belonged to her. And we said back then that maybe she ought to be evaluated. Grumpy Old Man brings a little joy and laughter to Savannah Center Stage. The only problem with getting old is getting old. That's the enduring lesson from the musical version of Grumpy Old Men. It opened Wednesday at Savannah Center and runs through Friday. The show is based on the 1993 movie and touches on the joy, anger, sadness, and loss that comes with age. Maybe Punky Olander, played by Lisa Jones, summed it up with these words: "He didn't die, he just stopped living." Ultimately, the musical makes it clear that the joy of life can overcome the grief of death. This production hits some raw nerve endings for seniors. It's a long show running 2 hours and 15 minutes. And while it slows down at times, the musical builds to a poignant climax. Two performers, as expected, dominated the stage. Alex Santarello, in his usual Broadway-level performance standard, plays John Gustafson. That's the role that Jack Lemmon played in the film. Lon Abrams gives a masterful performance as Max Goldman, the guy who drives Santarello's character crazy. While no one could match Walter Matthau's screen role, Abrams is a joy to behold. It's not only grumpy, he's grouchy, nasty, perpetually ticked off. It sounds familiar. He contorts his face into emotional masks and plays a hilarious scene, trying to rise from an oversized floor pillow. These two guys face off against each other all night long. The battle really heats up when sexy Ariel True, played by Mary Jo Vitelli, moves into a cold, small town of Wabasha, Minnesota. Actually, I thought in the movie it was Wabasha, Wisconsin. Am I wrong? Grumpy Old Men, the musical, can't match the motion picture, but it's a lot of fun, and in between the laughs, delivers a powerful message. This time of year when the snowbirds start to come back, they have a lot of these shows at the Savannah Center, especially Savannah Center, and then they bring the big names in to the church on the square. I still call it the church on the square. Here's another update. A villager has been freed from jail after defiantly driving her BMW after a drunk driving conviction. Andrea Lee Feeney, 68, of the village of Lake Deaton, was released October 19th from the Sumter County Detention Center after nearly a month behind bars. Feeney had been arrested September 13th when she was at the wheel of a white BMW X3 when she was driving on County Road 156 at a high rate of speed, according to the arrest report. A radar check showed she was traveling 50 miles per hour in a 25-mile-an-hour zone. During the traffic stop, Feeney said she had been at her first probation appointment. She got lost. She claimed she had been informed she could drive for the appointment. You guys remember that report, right? So she's out, and I'm sure she'll find a court date soon. Here's another update on one we done a few months ago. A competency evaluation has been ordered for a patient who stole a medical van after being discharged from UF Health, the village's hospital. Earlier this month, an attorney representing 57-year-old Margaret May Maitsk of Lady Lake filed a motion with Lady Lake for competency evaluation of her client. The judge in the case has agreed to appoint an expert to complete an evaluation according to the documents filed at the Sumter County Court. Maitsk was uncooperative when she was discharged in June at the hospital. She climbed behind the wheel of a medical transport van and drove out of the hospital's parking lot. Sumter County Sheriff's deputies found the stolen van parked in a handicapped spot at a nearby Wawa convenience store. Maitsk was smoking a cigarette with other smokers gathered at the Wawa outdoor picnic table. It seems like that Wawa attracts a lot of problems. When deputies attempted to take Maitsk into custody, she physically resisted their efforts, as well as being verbally abusive and shouting vulgarities. After she was placed in the back of the patrol car, Maitsk was able to get one of her hands free. She began banging on the squad car. Deputies removed her from the car and attempted to place her in a restraint vest. She stomped the deputy on his foot. During the ride to Sumter County Detention Center, Maitsk made several explicit sexual remarks, racial remarks, and stated several times, "She is going to find me and kill me," the deputy said. Maitsk is facing charges of theft of a motor vehicle, battery and law enforcement officer, intimidation, and resisting arrest. She remains free on a $13,000 bond. She remains free. She threatened the life of a deputy, stole a van, and she's free on bond. A golf cart driver landed behind bars after running a stop sign in the villages. Timothy Franklin Davidson, 54, of Ocala, was driving a blue golf cart at 11:51 a.m. Wednesday when he ran a stop sign at Avienda Central and Del Mar Drive, according to the arrest report. That's Spanish Springs. During the traffic stop, a police officer found that Davidson's driver's license had been revoked as of 2009. The officer also learned that Davidson has been convicted of driving while license suspended in 2013. Again in 2018, and again in 2019. He was arrested on a felony charge of driving while license suspended. He was issued a written warning for running a stop sign. He was booked at the Lake County Jail and released after posting a $2,000 bond. What happened to the golf cart? Was it towed in? Was it impounded? He's got no license, so he can't drive it. Here's an update on one we did a couple weeks ago, I think. A villager accused of swindling fellow residents of more than $3 million is complaining that his bond is too high. John and Michael Gasis, 73, of the village of Gilchrist, has been held since September 28th at the Sumter County Detention Center on multiple charges of fraud. His attorney asked that the $660,000 bond that had been set be reduced. The judge refused. According to the investigation that led to his arrest, Gasis placed ads in the village's Daily Sun inviting residents to his investment seminars at the Waterfront Inn and VKI Japanese Steakhouse. I like that Japanese steakhouse at Lake Sumter Landing. The financial crimes investigator for the Florida Office of Financial Regulations found that Gasis, from May 2018 to July 2020, systematically deceived and took advantage of his victims. In a motion to reduce the bond, Gasis' attorney claimed his client is a victim too. He invested $350,000 of his own money into the same fund he is accused of knowing was fraudulent. Mr. Gasis lost a substantial portion of his savings that he lived off during his later years, and he is a man of reasonable means, his attorney wrote in the motion. The attorney added that Gasis is not a flight risk and he owns a home in the Villages and does not have a valid passport. Gasis would be willing to wear a GPS monitor device, the attorney added. I didn't know he had a choice. You want to be free? Got to wear it. The motion said that Gasis is entitled to affordable bond. He's also entitled to give $3 million of stolen money back. Now, this here story doesn't have really anything to do with the Villages. This is one of our retiring neighborhoods. Spruce Creek. It's a nice place over there, but I'm reading this just so you see that Villages isn't the only target here. Any retiring area has problems, and everybody's got to be aware of it, and you got to keep your eyes open and protect everything that you can protect the best way you know how. A yard worker armed with a garage code has been arrested in the theft of a golf cart from a snowbird. The Del Webb Spruce Creek resident was up in Michigan, and a neighbor was keeping an eye on his house in the Summerfield development when she spotted 66-year-old Michael William Ludwig of Summerfield in the garage, according to the arrest report. The homeowner was contacted and said Ludwig, who had done yard work and sprinkler maintenance for the homeowner in the past, did not have permission to be in the garage. In addition, Ludwig took the golf cart from the garage and left his golf cart in the driveway. Ludwig, who has a long criminal history, was arrested Thursday on charges of burglary and grand theft. He was booked at the Marion County Jail and released after posting a $7,000 bond. To our great friends and neighbors over in the over in the Del Webb Spruce Creek area, be careful. Keep an eye on each other's homes the best you can. These people are ruthless. They will steal anything that you got. They don't care about you. A human smuggling suspect was arrested with a previously deported Guatemalan on Interstate 75 in Sumter County. German Benjamin Rodriguez, I can't pronounce that name, 25 of Cape Coral, was driving a red 2010 Ford Fusion with a Florida license plate on Monday morning southbound on I-75 near Bushnell. The vehicle was in the left lane obstructing traffic, and the driver failed to move over to the right lane for other motorists. If you are one of these left lane drivers down here in Florida, and you won't get out of that left lane, unless you intend to make a left turn soon, you are holding up traffic, you're impeding traffic, you are in the way. And I think the police ought to start handing out more and more tickets for that problem. Quinchell, who had a temporary Florida driver's license, said he and his passenger were coming from Nebraska and were friends. Quinchell has a pending court hearing in 2025 with regards to his immigration status in the United States. A suspicious debit card was found in his wallet. The passenger provided a trooper with an identification card from Guatemala and indicated he did not have a passport. The trooper checked with Border Patrol and learned that the passenger had previously been deported in 2021. Quinchell was arrested on a charge of human smuggling and booked at the Sumter County Detention Center. Bond was set at $10,000. His vehicle was towed from the scene. His passenger, who was not named in the report, was turned over to Border Patrol. Amen. Get him out of here. I hate to sound cruel, but that's how I feel about it. A villager was tasered in his bedroom after his refusal to cooperate with law enforcement. Sumter County Sheriff's deputies on Monday night went to the home of 62-year-old Gary Thomas Wilcock on Pravada Drive in the village of Alhambra. Wilcock was wanted on a warrant charging him with failure to appear. The Connecticut native had been charged last year with harassing his estranged lady friend in Lake County. When deputies entered the home Monday night, they found that Wilcock had locked himself into the bedroom. He repeatedly ignored their commands to exit the bedroom. When deputies finally entered the bedroom, they found Wilcock had stacked furniture in the entryway. He was tasered by deputies and taken into custody. He was taken to UF Health, the village's hospital, for medical evaluation, and then taken to Sumter County Detention Center. He was booked at the jail on a charge of resisting arrest. A hold was put on his custody by Lake County. Yeah, that always works, stacking furniture in front of the door. That always works. A 95-year-old villager has been sentenced after hitting a fellow resident driving a golf cart and then fleeing the scene. Elanor Lev, a resident of Sumter Senior Living, appeared in Marion County Court on Tuesday and pleaded no contest to a charge of leaving the scene of a crash involving injuries. She had been placed on probation for 2 years and has been ordered to perform 80 hours of community service. I'm not laughing at that. I'm just laughing at, like, how old was she? 95 years old, 80 hours of community service. Sometimes the law to me is a little out there. What's she going to do at 95? Levitt, a former resident of the village of Calumet Grove, was at the wheel of a green 2007 Mercury Montego on the afternoon of December 29th when she ran a stop sign and hit a golf cart driven by 81-year-old Nancy Lou Hooper. The villager witnessed the crash near the village of Chatham Postal Station and tried to get Levitt to stop, but the native New Yorker kept going, according to the arrest report from the Florida Highway Patrol, which investigated the accident and eventually tracked down and arrested Levitt. Levitt, while still living on Creekside Circle in the village of Calumet Grove, had been ticketed in 2020 on a charge of careless driving following an accident near the entrance to Del Webb Spruce Creek on U.S. Highway 441 in Summerfield. Levitt had been at the wheel of the same green 2007 Mercury Montego that she was driving when she hit Hooper's golf cart. By the way, that senior living she's living at over there, I've been over there once and visited somebody, and I did a walkthrough, and they showed me around the place. I didn't video none of it. What a great place it is. I mean, I don't know all the ins and outs of it. I don't know how much it cost, but I know it's a great place to live your final days. A homeless man with drugs was arrested in a bank parking lot in the Villages. An officer noticed a vehicle parked at about 5:30 a.m. Friday at the Trust Bank at 101 La Grande Boulevard on the historic side of the Villages. The bank was closed and the officer approached the vehicle and saw 38-year-old Aaron James Donaldson passed out in the driver's seat. A prescription pill bottle was spotted in the vehicle. A search of the vehicle was conducted and a prescription bottle was found to contain 2 small plastic bags. One bag contained fentanyl and the other contained methamphetamine. Donald was also found to be in possession of a glass pipe and 2 straws. He was arrested on felony charges of drug possession and a misdemeanor charge of possession of drug paraphernalia. He was booked at the Lake County Jail and released after posting a $5,000 bond. Another waterfront home in the village of Bridgeport at Lake Sumter has sold for over $1.5 million, netting a $600,000 profit over the previous sales price. Located at 623 Turnberry Forest Drive, the 0.576-acre lot faces Lake Sumter and features a 3,220 square foot home. According to Sumter County property records, the home was built in 2006 and the original home sold for $787,000. Nearly 8 years later, in February 2014, the home was purchased for $950,000. This past July, the home was sold for $1,550,000 according to Sumter property records. The property is one of several with waterfront homes that have sold for large profits in the village of Bridgeport. In July, a waterfront home on Blease Loop sold for $1.75 million. Another waterfront home on Russell Loop sold for $1.85 million in August. Another home on Russell Loop sold for $950,000 in June, around 7 years after it was purchased for $505,000. See, if you've got 2 homes or 3 homes or whatever, and you're thinking of getting rid of one of them, especially if you got 2 of them here in the Villages, or you're wanting to move somewhere else where you have a home, this would be a great time to sell. I believe this could be one of the top stories for the week. Margarita Republic has closed its doors at Spanish Springs Town Square. A note on pink paper on the door announced the closure. Margarita Republic is officially closed. We want to thank everyone who supported us all these years. Thank you. Staff at the restaurants were reportedly among the last to learn of the restaurant's abrupt closure. Many were said to have anticipated reporting to work on Monday. Margarita Republic's staying power and its demise could be easily summed up. Great location, terrible reputation. Margarita Republic was known for the late night hangers-on who stayed and drank until the wee hours. It wasn't a villager's spot. Instead, the people who showed up at the party late at night and into the wee hours were younger adults from outside Florida's friendliest hometown. Out-of-towners were known to have imbibed heavily at the bar. Law enforcement were frequently called to Margarita Republic. Things has gotten so bad that the Lady Lake Commissioner earlier this year debated that the possibility of changing its liquor pouring hours to deter the late night partying at Margarita Republic. It was usually the overconsumption of alcohol that led to arrests. Earlier this year, an Indiana chiropractor was ordered into anger management after complaints that he was putting his hands on women at the bar. In February, a woman who said she drank 6 to 7 shots of tequila was arrested after leaving Margarita Republic. "Just take me to jail because I'm lit," she told the arresting officer. In past November, an Ocala woman was arrested after drinking shots at Margarita Republic. Her clothes were inside out and she was pulled over for erratic driving. A man from Massachusetts was arrested last year on a charge of disorderly intoxication at Margarita Republic. In 2021, a Margarita Republic cook was arrested at work in an alleged attack on his girlfriend at a home in the Villages. The case was later dropped in 2015. A Margarita Republic cook was arrested in a prostitution case. Yeah, it didn't have the best reputation at all. And the thing that made everybody upset was it's in the Villages, which is a retirement community, and outsider young people were coming in, causing all kinds of havoc, where people that live up there, they almost felt unsafe at night walking down the sidewalks up there. Here's an update on a story we did about 2 months ago, I think. A serial Subway sandwich stealing suspect has been ordered to make restitution and stay out of Publix grocery store in the Villages. John Withowski, 46, who lives at the Rolling Acres Apartments in Lady Lake, this past week in Lady Lake Court offered a plea of no contest to 3 counts of misdemeanor theft. He was ordered to make restitution to Publix, pay court costs, enter a shoplifting program, and stay out of store at La Plaza Grande. Shoplifting program? Is taxpayers paying for that too? That's stupid. The native of Bronx, New York, was arrested after his 3rd trip to the store, in which he went to the deli counter and ordered 3 sub sandwiches with a total value of $31.77, according to the arrest report. Stay out of Publix. A local couple is suing State Farm Insurance for allegedly not reimbursing the homeowners for the cost of repairs to their home after it was allegedly damaged by wind and hail. Robert and Susan Forthingham filed a lawsuit against the insurance company in the 5th Judicial Circuit Court of Marion County on October 17. According to the complaint, the couple purchased property insurance for their home at 8984 Southeast 119th Street in Del Webb Spruce Creek Country Club in City of Summerfield. Fotheringham say that on April 27, 2023, their home suffered wind and or hail damage. During the policy period of November 19, 2022 through November 19, 2023, plaintiff's property was damaged by wind and or hail event. The Fotheringhams say they filed a claim with the insurance provider and that the company assigned the loss and claim number. They accused the insurer of not reimbursing them after the claim was filed. This is an action related to State Farm Insurance Company's breach of contract for failure to fully indemnify the Fotheringhams for loss, reads the complaint. The Fotheringhams are seeking damages less than $50,000. According to the Marion County property records, the couple purchased the property in November 2021 for $389,900. The Fotheringham's lawsuit is one of several lawsuits that have been filed against State Farm by local residents in and around the Villages who have made similar claims. That includes a Village of Summerhill resident who sued State Farm October the 6th. That resident alleges that he has not been reimbursed for costs for repairs he made to his home after the storm on or about April 25, 2023. Another couple that lives in Summerfield sued State Farm Insurance for repairing hail damage to their home that allegedly occurred during the same storm. This home insurance and roof replacements and stuff all stems from a scam, and I'll call it a scam, and people here fell for every one of them. And the attorney in Miami said that what these people were doing was legal, and that's where everything fell apart. And now the rest of us are going to pay the price because of it. A waterfront home in the village of Santo Domingo sold for over $1 million earlier this year, nearly quadrupling its 2017 sale price. The three-bedroom, three-bath, 2,200 square foot home located at 1921 Cordero Court was sold for $1.05 million in July, according to the Sumter County property records. Built in 2000, the home originally sold for $186,200 in October of that year. In 2017, property records show that the home sold for $290,000. The July sales marks an over 360% increase on the sales price in 2017 and an over 560% increase on the original sales price. The property features an enclosed pool with a waterfront view as well as several other upgrades to the interior. The home is one of several homes in the villages that have sold for large profits this year, and they have sold a lot. In August, the home in the village of San Domingo sold for $600,000, which was over double its sale price in 2018. Another waterfront home that faces Lake Deaton sold for $2.25 million in July, nearly tripling its $833,600 price in 2014. A home in the village of Osceola Hills that sold for $760,000 in 2019 was sold for $1.5 million this year. A home in the village of Pennycamp sold for $1 million in September, nearly doubling its original sales price of $521,600. These people are walking away with a ton of cash in their pocket. I congratulate every one of them. I just wish one of them was me. Here's a report on one of the local things that a neighborhood does that has nothing to do with villages activity, but you'll find these little activities in every neighborhood that you buy in the villages, and they're fun. We have them here. They have them everywhere. It's called the Witches of Osceola Hills on Wednesday night enjoyed their annual Witches Night Out. I don't know. That's all the story says. I don't know what they do. Don't know if they go to a party or they have a street party. I don't know, but it looks like they have fun. And that's what retirement's all about, having fun. Here's an update on an old story. Community Development District 9 supervisors have made good on their threat to file a lawsuit against a couple who lost their house to a fire in 2022. The suit has been filed in Sumter County Court against James and Christine Noonan, who have been slow to replace their home at 3000 Lurville Road in the village of Gilchrist. In the lawsuit, CD9 alleges that the couple ignored repeated warnings about deed compliance violations at the property and created a danger to the public's health, safety, welfare, and property value of citizens of Sumter County, particularly those located within the VCDD number 9, the lawsuit states. Supervisor believed that the Noonans drugged their feet and took advantage of their compassion. Promises were made about the reconstruction of the home. Those promises were never kept. Supervisor said the neighbors put up with the eyesore much longer than necessary. Property records show the Noonans bought another home in the villages while the problem persisted at the home that was destroyed by fire. That sounds a little suspicious. This is fun. Autumn Grace, who lives with Kathleen Jennings in the village of Belvedere, brought home a third-place ribbon in a Halloween costume contest at the West Munster Dog Show and Silent Auction at Farron Park in Eustis. The event was held to raise funds for the Humane Society of Lake County. Little fuzzy butt. How many holes in ones do you think we got maybe this week in the villages? We haven't had any for a while, but the snowbirds are returning. So, yeah, here we go. We got 3 of them. Villager Ed Polorski scored 2 lucky aces this month, and the month isn't over yet. Polorski got a hole-in-one at the Bacall Executive Golf Course on October 19 on hole number 5, the 5th hole at 143 yards, golfing with his friends from the village of DeLuna. On Wednesday, October 25, he got another hole-in-one at Richmond hole on hole number 5 at 52 yards. Congratulations on your hole-in-one, Ed. Greg Witt of the village of Bonita got a hole-in-one on October 18th at hole number 3 at the Sweet Gum Executive Golf Course. One of my favorite executive courses when I played Sweet Gum. It was his 3rd lifetime hole-in-one, with this being his 2nd hole-in-one in the villages. Congratulations on your hole-in-one there, Greg. Lee Harper of the village of Collier got his first hole-in-one after more than 50 years of golfing. He scored the lucky ace at hole number 4 at Tarpon Boyle Executive Golf Course. He was golfing with his wife, Sandy. Best I ever did at Tarpon Boyle. I forget which hole it was, but it was whichever one is the par 4. I got an eagle. Congratulations on your hole-in-one, Lee. Let's see if we can find a couple letters to the editor. To the editor, why can't the villages put locks on the gates that all we have to do is swipe our ID card to open the gate? All gates, including pickleball, tennis, etc. Most 55 plus have this. I know it wouldn't stop the problem 100%, but I'm sure it would help. That's sent in by Bruce Mack at the Village of Iceland. To the editor, the traffic increase has become a problem. We are only looking at the surface of the problem. As it increases, our seniors who are older, our elderly, are afraid or should not drive in it. Our children who have moved in here with us that have disabilities may not be able to drive in it. The villages has developed beautifully, but we need to look and address the problems right on before it becomes unbearable. People that are driving and complaining, however, they are not taking into consideration those on fixed incomes or cannot drive or should not drive. We need an affordable public transportation system in here. I know a lot of people are going to disagree with this, and they have the right to do so. I look to the older people that have built this place for everyone. Don't they deserve some recognition and consideration and respect? Also, to be pragmatic, accident rates will go down. Insurance should go down. Please write to the editor if you agree with this. That's sent in by Jan Ronk, the Village of Winifred. Well, with that being said, I think that's going to be the news this week. I appreciate everybody for watching. If you enjoyed it, hit the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up, consider becoming a Patreon member. That's who actually sponsors all of my news. My members pay for this, and I appreciate each and every one of them. And if you're a member, you'll see some of these things, including the news, totally commercial free. You'll also get the invitation to come to our members' lunch when we have them. So with that being said,
don't leave your keys in the golf cart.